Okay, I'll pick on some board members who are interested in asking or making comments. Mr. Hafley.
You know, I was lucky enough to know Fred Tjardes. And he was a kind, caring gentleman who loved his students and his staff. And he would be incredibly proud of the passion, the diligence, and the incredible plan that you've put together. That plan is beyond thorough. I work with Ms. Lewis at UNC, and if all of our teacher candidates walked away with the knowledge that was in that plan, they would be the equivalent of our 4, 5, 6-year veteran teachers. And so each of you should be very, very proud of what you've done. I'd like to thank Dr. Pilcher and Mandy and Wes for being great allies, because too often in the community it's a we versus they thing, and it's been the exact opposite in this, and you've all worked together and we appreciate that. And I also need to remind the board that we created a strategic plan that focused on personal learning and the idea of allowing educators to have autonomy. And I think that we've done all three of those things. And there was a guy named John Wooden one time who once said that, thank you, Mr. Hall.
You're welcome.
John Wooden once said that, you know, you haven't lived a perfect day until you do something for somebody else who can never repay you. So thank you for all that you've done.
Thanks, Mr. Hafley. Ms. Pappas.
Well, I was not part of the board when the board developed the plan for innovation and for personalized learning, but of course I support it. And as I looked at your plan and we've listened to you, I would just have to agree with John that this plan is so comprehensive that it's actually, it does make me feel like I want to go back and be a teacher again. So just think about that. But there are reasons that I will support this plan. I just want to make sure that you know what I appreciate about it. Of course, it's a match to the innovation strategic plan that we have, our Innovation 2020. But specifically, I appreciate the fact that every child that comes into your school will have a voice, and that voice will be heard in collaboration. It will be heard with an adult. It will be heard with other students. And additionally, their families will have value at your school. And also the fact that you have provided the opportunity for community members, or will provide the opportunity for community members to be part of this teaching learning process again, or as well. And then also, I also appreciate that you've integrated the social emotional component just throughout this integrated day. I think sometimes it's really hard and we think about social emotional learning as being separate, but it's not. It's part of what they learn every day. And the fact that you have those competencies identified and that'll be part of your intentional work, I appreciate that. And then I also want to say that I just really appreciate the fact that you have worked so hard and have been so diligent in your vision and your dream of making this school representative of our diverse community. We're proud of our community, we're proud of the diversity, and I appreciate that you are doing everything you can to make sure that the student population will match that diversity. So finally, I would just say that I just am excited. I'm excited that you have this plan. I'm excited that we are an innovative district and we're moving forward. We're offering choice. And I think that your plan, as well as the plans of Billy Martinez and Prairie Heights and Franklin, will be models for the rest of our district. It's easy to say, let's all be innovative, but it's hard work. And so I appreciate all of your work and appreciate all the time you spend in trying to help us understand what your vision is. So thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Pappas. Mr. Hall.
I just want to say I am so proud of you guys. I'm an entrepreneurial guy. I'm always dreaming. I'm a what-if guy. And you've got 3 years worth of skin in the game before you even start, of dedication to a dream. When you really didn't even know for sure what the dream was, other than maybe 30,000 feet, certainly didn't know the mechanics of it, just from your own words. But the dream got birthed, and the mechanics came, right? And so I've come to refer to you guys anytime, and I think you probably heard it when I introduced you Saturday. These are my entrepreneurial innovators in education. And so I'm also an economics guy, and like you blew me away. I mean, you've got a whole new, with Mandy's help, it's a refreshing thing when you become a profit center back to the district, so to speak, off of PPR. So I wish you the best of luck. You won't need luck. I mean, you won't need luck. You're there. You've done the work. And that innovation and that entrepreneur, you're going to lead Fred Tjardes to where it needs to go. So take my hat off to you. Kudos. Congratulations. Now roll your sleeves up. Let's make it happen.
Thanks, Mr. Hall. Ms. Solis.
So I was actually a student of Mr. Tjardes. He was my principal. So his passion for kids and just the feeling that he gave us all as children within that building is evident in your presentation. I want to thank you for your passion for public education, for the journey that's brought you to this point, and what's going to lead you forward in this innovative school. One of the things that I hope as a school board member is that within these walls, we'll develop ideas that we can steal and duplicate in other schools within our district, and just multiply the success that you have within your school. And the culture, the relationships, the community involvement. I'm hoping that we can all learn a little bit of extra stuff to bring back to our families, to our community groups, and to our kiddos, and inspire them to want to learn in different ways and go out in other ways to learn, whether it's a museum or being part of our, community or our business partnerships that we all have. So thank you very much for the meticulous work that you have done, the passion that has kept you going, and we as a community are very fortunate to have you here, and I will be voting yes.
Dr. Richard.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you because you brought this school forward for all the right reasons, because you believe that this is the best path for our students to learn in. You're incredibly diligent educators as well. You've really hung on to this and moved it forward in a really impressive and thorough way. I too agree. As you walk down our list of values, this fits perfectly with our values. And when we talk about our vision and preparing students for tomorrow's world, this is authentic learning in the activities that they'll be doing. And our vision to be able to personalize learning, it doesn't get much more personalized than this. I want to thank the administration for the lease that we have, because when we do this innovation, we are making an investment in the innovation. This does not come without a cost. We know that there are costs from our nutrition services. We know that there are upfront startup costs. We know that there are costs that are going to be spread over that 5-year term of the lease. But sometimes you do have to make an investment to have the innovations that you want. So as you know, I've always been pretty concerned about that budget and about sustainability and about viability for the school. And I feel comfortable with a yes on this tonight, that we can move forward, that we have options that keep us fiscally responsible and to our taxpayer dollars, that they're used in a way that, that serves all children. So thanks.
Thanks, Dr. Richard. Anyone else wanting to offer an observation? I'll call on myself. If your tax, thank you. I needed some help on leadership today. If the taxi that brought you on your path had a meter that was still running, we would never be able to afford the bill. You guys have been relentless in your search for as your board members have pointed out, that thing which wasn't clear, but you knew it when you saw it or when you combined it. So I'm pleased to see that the board is in a position of saying, well, we'll meet the needs of that taxi. The right to read building, right? It's got a little bit of, good karma already built in that building. And it's got a little bit of a history of being that kind of a different drummer, kind of a place where you can get an education. And certainly your effort at collaboration and at cautiously looking at, do we even want to be involved with the school district on this gig? Or what's our best deal? And you didn't give up on the district that in the past hasn't been necessarily best player for this kind of innovation. And it's a testament to this board and to administration and our administrative leadership that says, yeah, this is something we want to back. And so it feels like it's about the right time to put this to a vote, unless there's some quick call from anyone on the board. You've heard the resolution, which I think was romantically presented by your board president. Perhaps we can go ahead and call the question. Roll call, please, Ms. Crane.
Mr. DeWitt?
Aye.
Mr. Hafley?
Aye.
Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Mr. Lydiak?
Aye.
Ms. Pappas?
Aye.
Dr. Richard?
Aye.
Mrs. Solis?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Well, that's inspiring. The job has just begun, y'all. Okay, so we're counting on hearing from you on step 2. Thanks and good night to those of you who are supportive.
I think they're off to have an actual school accountability committee meeting.
I think it's time for.
They really are.
I think it's.
I'm not joking, they are.
Accountability, and we thank you
They
for
are.
that.
They really are.
Well, I'm sorry to miss the meeting, but it's with our good intent that they be successful tonight. The next item on our agenda is the Priority Improvement Turnaround School of Innovation proposals, and this is another set of presentations that involve a great deal of effort and a great deal of commitment on the part of our staff and our administration. So, Dr. Pilch, let's go. Let's continue this mood.
Thank you, Mr. DeWitt. Oh, yeah, you can take a motion first if you'd
Okay,
like.
sure I will. Let's do that motion.
I move that the Board of Education, I move that the Board of Education of Weld County School District 6 approve the Franklin Middle School and Prairie Heights Middle School innovation proposals as presented and authorize the officers to sign any and all resolutions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, and bravely so. Dr. Pilch?
Thank you, Mr. DeWitt. So we just heard an innovation proposal for a school that is a new school, a school that is starting from the ground up in foundation and building. And the 2 innovation plans you are about to hear are innovation plans that come from 2 of our existing middle schools that, quite honestly, when I got to the school district a year and a half ago, these schools were in deep trouble. They're both turnaround schools. They're on the clock with the Colorado Department of Ed, and they're not in this spot because they haven't been working hard. These staffs at these schools have been pouring their heart and soul into striving to meet the needs of the students at both of these schools, and yet they have not been able to get the kinds of results that not only the Colorado Department of Education expects them to get, but they themselves expect to get, and that we would hope that they would get for our students at their 2 schools. So it took me several months coming into the district to really get my feet on the ground and to understand what it meant for 2 of our middle schools to be coming into their final year on the accountability clock. I now have a deep understanding of what that means, as they do. So one of the things that we did last winter is we created the position of Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Education. And you're going to hear from Dr. Hannaford, who we hired in that position. But in Dr. Hannaford's role, her 2 primary responsibilities are to lead our middle schools and to lead our high schools. So her work this first 6 months here in District 6, and now we're into almost 8 months here in District 6, has been to work very closely with the leadership and staffs at both schools, Franklin Middle School and Prairie Heights Middle School. They have worked closely with the Colorado Department of Education. They have had teams to come in and audit them, and those teams have provided very honest and what I would consider even scathing reports of what they saw and what needed to be done at the schools. And some schools could have thrown in the towel and said, fine, just take us. Just take us. But instead, Prairie Heights and Franklin said to us, we can do this. We are committed to doing what you're asking us to do. It's emotional for me because I sat with each of these principals and I said, can you do what you're being asked to do? And not only can you do what you're being asked to do, but are you willing to do what you're being asked to do? And both of these principals looked me eyeball to eyeball and said, yes, yes, I can do this. And they needed help to do this. So what we have done over the last several months is we have worked very strategically with both schools. Each school has a design team. They have worked almost weekly on their plan to get to where they are tonight. They have targeted their grant dollars that have been received as a part of being a part of a grant that's called Catapult and part of a Turnaround Network grant. They have targeted those dollars to very specific work to ensure that they develop a plan that not only fulfills our district's strategic plan, but will meet the needs of the students who they have at both of their middle schools. They have also targeted their Title I dollars. Both of these schools are Title I schools, which means literally hundreds of thousands of dollars are flowing to them annually from the federal government to ensure that we increase student achievement. They have targeted those dollars in a very specific way to get to where they are today with the plans that are before you. And as they go forward over the next several years, they intend to have that same kind of laser-like focus with the resources that they have to ensure that they meet the needs of the students at both of those schools. What you will see tonight in these plans is you will see a plan that has been developed from the grassroots level up. Kind of like Fred Tjardes was, but really that was 3 people. They were the grassroots. Here what you see is a staff at each school of 40 to 50, 60 staff members who have come together and agreed on how they will meet the needs of their students and how they will fulfill our district improvement plan. They have committed to excellence and innovation and continuous improvement. And they understand the importance of using technology, collaborative problem solving, and personalized learning, which you will hear in their plan tonight. All of that comes from our Innovation 2020, from the strategic plan and the district goals that we all developed together. So I'm excited to bring these plans to you tonight. I strongly endorse both plans. I do believe, and as you all know when you hired me, I have had the privilege of doing turnaround work in a school. I was a turnaround school principal. And so I know that what it takes is intense vision and focus and targeted resources to turn a school around. And I believe that these 2 plans do that for these schools. And we're going to walk closely with them over the next several years, not only to support them, but also to hold them accountable to the plans that they are promising they will deliver. So I'm excited to have Dr. Hannaford come to the podium now and to share with you the plans that have been developed for both schools. Thank you, Rhonda.